벌어지 검을 다룰 때는 망설이지 않아야 한다. 망설임이 있다는 것은 곧 검을 그만큼 덜 다루어 봤다는 의미가 되니 연습에 매진하도록.
So an important lesson that you might be able to figure out from my increase in energy: never let someone never let someone boil water for coffee or anything like that, because you're gonna forget to go back and record stuff. Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm Hokma. This is Mnestic. It struck me that I might not know how to pronounce this. Mnestic experience. View first story event to unlock. Stage. Oh hey, story, cool. We aren't getting into a fight immediately. Consultation session. I still have the frickin' Utis uptight image. No, wait. For this one we should go about it like... Te. No, Heathcliff's been in the vanguard for too long. I should pull him back and let him... Dante. Sorry, did you say something? I provided you an answer to your question, but you exhibited no observable response. Is the Sinner's combat performance deteriorating beyond manageable parameters? No, things aren't that bad, but it's just hard to focus on one conversation when I'm trying to support battles happening in completely different places at once. On top of that, Rhodia's shopping chatters start to get a little bit distracting. Dante's brain is melting thanks to Malthus' power. Hopefully we get that fixed up soon. A few days after we entered Encore's district, the bus pulled over in the back streets of Encore to take care of a distortion case. This contract was supposed to be handled jointly with the LCD team, but distortions started cropping up all over an area of the back streets called Butter Street, without any coherent pattern, no obvious sign of origin or route of spread, nothing convenient like that, and I had no choice but to split the Sinners into several groups and send them out. Utis, Ishmael, Sinclair, Don Quixote, Heesang, and Mersault were on their way to a rendezvous with the LCD team. Heathcliff, Gregor, and Hong Lu were suppressing distortions that had showed up from other directions. And with our onboard stock scraped down to the bottom, Rhodia and Ryoshu, who were done with their share of suppression work, were put in charge of buying supplies for the bus. As for Faust, she decided to stay behind with me on the bus. I wanted to get through the consultation sessions I'd been putting off, and thought I might as well get myself some much needed practice with handling the new golden bow power I had acquired. To reiterate, there are no issues requiring special concern regarding Faust. It's true that Faust has, on several recent occasions, expressed dissatisfaction with a certain Faust. However, those instances should be classified as a mere personal grievance. I mean, that's good if that's all there is to it, but this was not the first time Faust had seemed unlike herself. There had been times before when she spent far longer alone than usual, lost in thought, moments where she could not produce immediate answers to questions from other Sinners or me. Could it be you can't access the Gesellschaft? May I ask your basis for that inference? 'Cause you're acting a lot like you did back on the warp train. It appears there remain occasions in which you are still capable of surprising Faust, Dante. So I was right, you really are cut off from the Gesellschaft? That was not intended as confirmation of your conjecture. Maybe she's saying that while she can technically access the Gesellschaft, it may as well be that she can't. I wish I could ask more and get to the bottom of it, but the way she was sidestepping the subject told me that prying wouldn't give me any further insight. Right, I won't press you if you don't want to talk about it. Your reserve is appreciated. Shall we move on? Yes, your consultation is the next agenda. After cross-referencing the records pertaining to the recent events in the House of Spiders, it would appear that memories concerning the individuals designated as Sora and Ren currently remain only with you, Dante. As such, should the influence of Ryoshu and her sword lead to further omissions in official records, the manager will be responsible for supplementing the necessary information. Yeah, not the first time I was the only one left with intact memories, huh? That's right, despite Keikol's memory wipe procedure, Catherine's erasure by Golden Bell's power, and Arashiki severing people from existence, I was the only one who remembered what had transpired. But ironically enough, the multiple memories I had prior to swapping my head with the clock still showed no sign of returning. Why won't my old memories come back though? Is it because of this clock head? Speculation based on your experience with the bus team thus far will not meaningfully contribute to recovery of your former memories, manager. Inductive reasoning conducted from memories with gaps, after all, is bound to have structural limitations. Bongi would serve as an adequate analogy. I'm sorry, it just caught me off guard with that and I'm trying to make sense of it. Bongi? Yes, Bongi. Receiving feed and increasing in body mass alone would provide it no meaningful basis for identifying the purpose of its rearing. Even at the terminal stage, when exposed to kitchen instruments and the heat of the stove, its limited experience would prove inadequate to constitute an understanding of its ultimate fate and purpose. Likewise, the ultimate answer to your doubts can only be obtained from the whole of the experience you will have accumulated at the terminus of your entire journey. That is, your allotted mission. I have to go through 3 circles of hell to get answers, really? Because treasure awaits at the end of the road, at the end of hell. And that treasure will give me back my memories and my head. Also, indeed, at the end of the road you'll be able to engrave your aspect. I still have no idea exactly what aspect means or whether it's even an object. But if I know one thing, it's that the me from before all this began had wanted it badly. Obsessively, desperately. It's more like an instinctive knowledge, but with my memories gone, that feeling, however strong it is, does not change the fact it's just another word with no discernible mental image. And you're not going to tell me what it actually is, are you? The aspect. What it means or why I wanted it so bad. If it remains a piece of information that must be disclosed to you, then no. I am unable to tell you. Huh? Pay it no mind, you are still following your star acceptably. Please concentrate on the journey. More importantly, have you grown accustomed to that incomplete power? Current observation says you have yet to arrive at that level. Well, I've gotten pretty used to focusing on one place at a time. But keeping track of several places at once is still a bit rough. Utis's team is doing well in combat even without my direct supervision. And Rhodia's team is shopping and not engaged in battle at the moment. Taking my mind off them would prove much easier. But that wouldn't give me the much needed practice, so I'm doing my best to keep an eye on every sinner's status. Sufficient familiarity should result in substantial tactical value. You would be able to cast a wider net when information gathering, and employ previously unavailable tactical patterns. Right, and I'll also be able to tell when it's a bad time to call someone in too. Even as I continued talking with Forst, I made sure not to stop observing the places where each group is and what they're doing. Yup. Pulling Heathcliff to the rear was the right call. I don't see any injuries. His team's still doing pretty well even without my directions. As for Rhodia... Wait, did she just stuff all of the pastries bread she bought into her pockets? How did she manage that with such a huge baguette? And Utis's group, let's see. Looks like they joined up with the LCD team without any issues. LCD, then that guy over there must be... Hang on. Forst? There's a dude I've seen before, but he seems a bit different from what I remember. Could you specify the issue? I'm monitoring the situation right now. We should probably join up with them too. Let's end the consultation here. This is rather precipitous, Dante. If the incident is of a serious nature, perhaps request for support from the LCC. No, it's not an incident. Though I wouldn't say it's not serious. Uh-oh. I worry that I might have seen something on Reddit that spoiled what's about to happen. I'll be very upset if that's the case. I think I just saw it and clicked spoiler tag without thinking. Okay, 9.516 Rendezvous. This is going from bad to worse, really. Dante seems to be tied up helping the other groups. Utis's command calls have all been working out well enough, I'll give her that. We've managed to hold the line better than expected, but we're definitely starting to feel the strain. Why are you waving your hand all over... arm and hand signals? What signals? What's swinging the arm sideways even supposed to mean? You don't know? It's scatter, damn it! So scatter! That was close. We almost got flattened. Damn it. Even rookies with nothing but the most rudimentary of military training would have recognized a hand signal that basic. Well, we're not all trained soldiers here, are we? Verily, the flourish of a single hand doth indeed make boast of a chivalric elegance. Yet when thou suddenly wavest thine arm out, clenching and unclenching thy hand in that mystical fashion, only to suddenly turn tail, forsooth I am left bereft of understanding what thou meanest to say. To think that of all the personnel in the team, only the swabby has the discipline to interpret a basic field signal. I only picked it up during my sailing days, and realistically speaking, did you expect ordinary people like the others to understand professional military signals? This is unacceptable. After all the operations you have been deployed under my lead, you're still ignorant when it comes to nonverbal signals. Give it 2 cantos, then we can teach them, I guess. I don't even think Dante would know those signals. Yep, might as well be splitting hairs. Literally. Let us appease our agitated hearts and follow Miss Otis's instruction. We should disperse and withdraw. Megaton landing! Hey! Pretty cool, huh? Let's face it, I know how to make one heck of an entrance. Whoa! Aren't you supposed to be cleaning up the distortions upstairs? Huh? Finito a million years ago. You guys were taking forever, so I figured I'd take a peek and lend a hand. You're welcome. Split by your thundering descent, the floor's form and shape are now crushed beyond mending, sunken deep enough to be likened to an incipience of a wellspring. Hey, don't you worry your head about it. That's all after teams to take care of. Anyway, that should be all of it, right? The force of your landing neutralized the last of the distortions outside of the building. Great! Can ya check on the distorted peeps' faces and clothes? Their faces are all segmented. Makes my skin crawl. Not a pleasant sight. As for their attire. This one appeareth to be a sweeper, and that one yonder bears the attire of an ordinary fixer. And this distortion I landed on, probably a local resident judging by the clothes. Did any of you happen to see anything nearby bursting with a big pop and flash? Nay, not once. Okie dokie, you know what then, let's all head upstairs. This suppression request is kinda a pain. We'll need to put together a nice, neat plan before we start poking it too hard. A plan, sayest thou? How, was this not a mere matter of slaying distortions where they stand? Wait, did nobody brief you? This has oft been the structure of our assignments. We are given instructions, we perform them, and only afterward do we begin to perceive the nature and contour of the task to which we have committed our hands. Really? Well, guess every department has its own way of doing things. No big deal, I'll explain everything once we're upstairs. Oh, by the way, you didn't get to meet the whole team last time, did ya? Only our new girl. This time that dude, I mean Mr. Bamboo-Hatted Kim's also here, so... He's okay now? Huh? Sure he is. You'll be surprised once you see just how okay he is now. But last time you said he was still under treatment. To be precise, I believe Miss Angdu stated that his mind is yet to regain its former tranquility. Ah, that. You'll get it once you see him. I feel like we'll just end up having the same conversation twice if I say anything about it now. Ah, you have arrived. It's blinding. It's so bright, the midday sun is pouring in like crazy. Yet the warm tickle of the sunbeam is rather agreeable. No, this is not sunlight. Because unlike this, there is more to the sunshine than its warmth. Then what exactly is this light? Why is this thing on again? It's bright enough to fry my eyeballs. Apologies, Lady Ezra. I'm yet to be accustomed to this machine. This is my first time laying a hand upon the complicated workings of such a contraption. It activated of its own accord, and I have yet to discover the method by which it may be silenced. That's why I told you to leave it alone. Fiddling with things you don't understand usually ends with something, or you, broken. Nothing good comes of it, I tell you. But Mentor, Lady Moses has instructed me that in every moment and event, clues are hidden under the veil of one's surroundings and must be examined with care. Yes, and that only works if you're savvy about the knack. Hang on, did you just say mentor? I had not yet been afforded a proper opportunity to introduce him to you. This here is the esteemed leader of the Blade lineage, who is all but a master under whom I have apprenticed. Do you really have to dress it up like that? I told you, I only took on the role because there wasn't anyone else around to take the job. Switch with the switch. Ha, gotcha. Goodness. Known as Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Oh wait, that's his clothes hung up and that's the actual guy? Seriously? Yeah, that's me. Guess I should say pleased to meet you, folks. In the background of the episode, I've actually been downloading Nikkei because they've also got a brand new event. Arc Ranger event. So I'll probably throw some things at that, but I'm definitely not going to record that. I still have so many Nikkei things to record and upload, and then probably drop the series anyhow. But anyhow, we are at 18 minutes, so let's keep going. Search for the inflection point. Okay, so more often than not, first impressions are prone to change. The Bamboo-Hatted Kim I remember was a man who drowned his own fathoms, blaming himself for his powerless with a listless, heavy voice. That, however, had been while he was distorted and sunken into himself, so I figured his original personality might be somewhat different. But this is not just somewhat. His personality isn't even in the same ballpark as my expectations. You're telling me this guy here is Bamboo-Hatted Kim? Yep, we double-checked with Ezra, and she said he really is the same guy. It does not sound like the one that... So, Library of Ruina, you can actually check out key pages to get little bits of backstory on them. And it is written from their mental voice. It's basically written in first-person stuff. After Library of Ruina, everyone gets out. I'm sorry to spoil that. But I feel like what I remember of Bamboo-Hatted Kim's stuff doesn't match up. I can only assume he's still crashed out after the distortion. Whoa, that fire on your head's not hot at all. Fascinating stuff. Okay, can we check again, just in case? I really can't wrap my head around the fact that this is the sullen, serious man whom we'd fought. Just look at what he's doing. He's rubbing my face all over like he's checking out some kind of mantelpiece or ornament. Lots of ticking and talking going on. That's supposed to sound like them talking to you folks, huh? Further confirmation would be redundant, Dante. This individual is conclusively identical to the one designated as Bamboo Hatted Kim. I've got no idea what you folks are so suspicious about. Angdu, just what exactly you've been telling people out there about me? They're all staring like they've seen a ghost. I told them that you are a gallant and formidable warrior, Mentor. But they don't look like they've heard the most flattering things about me. There, don't you hear it? The faint undercurrent of disappointment in the ticking. I also told them that you are a man of few words, but with much affection for the followers under your command. Angdu. Yes, Mentor? That's a complete and utter lie. Man of few words is definitely not something you can say about a guy who's as talkative as me, don't you think? Yet I spoke no falsehood, although your conduct is rather shallow and perhaps less refined for a leader of an organization. You are much more reserved and taciturn when conversing with those unfamiliar to you, are you not? No matter who one may be, one is bound to inspire either approval or disapproval from those around him, so I refrain from mentioning any truths that might veil the latter, to even hint at anything that might tarnish the reputation of my master, who would be not unlike spitting on his name, and mine by extension. I simply had no reason to put on airs in front of my own folks. In any case, you can't see anything if I block this part, huh? Do tell, how many fingers am I holding up? Those are not my eyes, you know! Your own folks, huh? Then you have already acknowledged and accepted that you now belong to Limbus Company. Why didst thou not pay a visit to the LCE? Verily, when one's mind is plagued by the absence of tranquility, venturing forth into open air and touching a field of grass cleareth the storm of the heart. An asset of the company is expected to act in the company's interest. Yet for whatever reason I didn't see you fighting on the field during Operation Spiderpire. You will have to account for your absence in the mission. Utas addressed Kim as though she were conducting a formal investigation, every word flat and hard. It was obvious she was not about to let her guard down anytime soon. What mission? Oh. That one. Kim finally seemed inclined to assume a more serious disposition. He stopped peering into my face and turned toward Utas, although his hand was still on my head. Alright, clearly there's some disconnect in expectations here. Listen here, you. I'm really not all that about hard, bothersome work. Get what I mean? The real disconnect was between his stoic expression and the words coming out of his mouth. I get it now. I get why he has sloth skills in that one distorted battle. What? So let's talk about the kind of fellow I am. Meet the resident layabout who's forced to do his job. With a frown too, I might add. Only when he's got absolutely no other choice. I'm really not some big shot Angdu's apparently been promoting me as, folks. And I'd very much like to stop getting roped into stuff that keeps putting my life on the line. Fine, then why did you join the LCD in the first place if you'd rather be unemployed? No, never mind, they probably forced you to stay. You catch on quick. First they spout this nonsense about distortions and all, then force hired me, calling me a company-owned resource or whatever. And the other day they were on again about Golden Bow. Yeah, they invited me on a tour to another department to listen in on some important presentation. And I accepted. I thought it would be a fine opportunity to broaden my perspective. Undo, dear. There are times when your commitment to duties shines brighter than the sun. I find that attitude so dazzling I have to squint when I'm looking at you. Who knows, maybe that's why I'm wearing this bamboo hat, to shade my eyes from your utter brilliance. Do you mean to say that you are in need of a shield to protect your eyes? Lady Azra, might I submit a request for a pair of sunglasses for my mentor? Only if it's not too much of an imposition on the budget, that is. That right there. That's what I keep telling you not to do. You can't just say yes to every silly thing he says and turn it into a supply request. Small expenses add up a lot, you know. You gotta save up for everything you can in the piggy bank while you still can, or you end up broke. Is there truly no room for reconsideration? No means no. You're making Ezra into the responsible one. Then pray make the purchase for me. I shall cover the cost myself. No can do. What? My poor mentor is in a state of great discomfort, yet I possess neither the wisdom nor knowledge to navigate the silver tongue of merchants and the maze of stalls to locate the very best item, so I must beg this favor of you. You're giving me a freaking headache, girl. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go back to Library of Ruina and read that to key page entry. In fact, I might just add that to this episode, so look forward to that after this. I am aware that you and yours are no strangers to such dealings. There is no one else I can trust to complete such a procurement with swiftness of the wind. You know what? Never mind what I said, I'll just get you what you want. You heard the gentle lady, mentor. Your suffering shall soon be alleviated. This is the same guy that can solo R Corp. One of the few people with a glitch built in that allows him to absolutely wreck shop. It's basically because when he gets to claim their bones, it gets converted into a counter skill. But the way counters are, that they're only supposed to trigger once per skill, per enemy combat page. But the thing is that there's a bug where if you kill someone with that reversed combat page, then it reuses itself on the next person to try and kill you. This means that if he has enough power on to claim their bones, and this is doable, if he has enough power on to claim their bones, then he can just use it to one-shot everything remaining. You heard the gentle lady, mentor. Your suffering shall soon be alleviated. Right. My apologies for interrupting you amid this conversation. Pray you continue. You had reached the part where they invited you to tour another department. No sooner Angdu's words left her lips than her eyes glinted with something I really couldn't put my finger on. But it was a strange intensity that sent a chill down my spine. Yeah, so that day I was just gonna relax here and watch some TV. Well, good on you for showing up to work today, I guess. Let's say there's a debt to be repaid. At least you understand that we are indeed indebted to the company. Yeah, I suppose I do. Kim's gaze lingered on Angdu's prosthetic arms as he answered. Miss Angdu, your arms. Only after following Kim's gaze did Sinclair seem to notice Angdu's brand new prosthetic arms. You gonna be racist about this, Sinclair? The last time we saw her, Angdu had lost both her arms, and I remember Ezra asking her to sit tight and choose what type of prosthesis she wanted. Those arms are probably it. It's not just the arms, even her clothes are different now, and that sword. I had these arms fitted anew as soon as the operation was concluded. The gracious host in one of LCD's teams prepared them in advance. With evident satisfaction, Angdu held up her dark metallic wrists as if to showcase them. The components fixed along her arm clicked and rattled, then folding for a moment before neatly folding back into place. Oh ho! Such graceful smoothness went to machine articulation! 'Tis as though I'm beholding the marvelous prosthesis of the illustrious Siegfried himself! Yep, the showcase would have gone lackluster without that trademark reaction. Those are surprisingly similar to Schwarz Industries' N7 lineup. But I thought that model was discontinued. Nah, not theirs. It's one of the prototypes developed by LCD's phenomenal deciphering team. and they put him on her for trial. Doubt you'll find another like him. They're based on technology spun from distortions. I see. For a brief moment, Sinclair's eyes lit up as if he had glimpsed something that brought him back to a memory. Then just as quickly he fell silent, whatever he'd want to say next catching in his chest. Does something trouble you, Master Sinclair? It wasn't hard to understand what struck the tender memory for Sinclair, and why it cast a shadow over his face. But... sorry, it just reminded me of something from a long time ago. My dad used to work with prosthetics before he passed away. I thought this was the exact same model I saw back then. It appears I lack tact. These arms have stirred a painful memory within you. For that, I apologize. It's alright, I'm fine now. Sinclair's voice still carried a faint tremor, but beneath it there was a firmness that had not been there before. He really had grown a great deal. You can thank yours truly for picking the sword. I was there with her. I did inform Lady Ezra that any blade that could serve as a weapon would suffice, but she insisted on browsing the goods. I dare say I was given the opportunity to lay my eyes on every type of sword I could have ever hoped to see in this life. Walking through the workshop street that day. Oh please girl, we walked for just 4 hours, that's nothing. While everyone was distracted taking in Angdu's new outfit and equipment, Kim had quietly slipped away from the crowd and crouched down in a corner. He was rummaging through things scattered on the floor, picking them up. Is he pocketing them? Anyway, what is this place supposed to be? What are all these things? It's basically a wreck now, but there are stroves in that cloth backdrop over there. Maybe it used to be a photo studio? Oh, that could explain why there's so many photos stuck around the place. Probably. This thing definitely looks like a camera at least. Sinclair picked up a small cylindrical object and turned it over in his hand, studying it with curiosity. Okay, not today, but I promise we will be looking at Library of Ruina's entry on Black Bamboo Hatted Kim. What do you suppose this is? A battery maybe? There's some kind of strip inside. Let me just pull it out. No, that's... Utis shouted a sharp warning at Sinclair as if she had realized something. But Mersault's hand shot out before she could even finish, clasping over Sinclair's wrist before the strip could be pulled out. What? What did I do? Exposure to sunlight damages these objects. I only pulled a little bit out though. It can be rewound. Carefully rotate the ridged section on the cylinder. I am currently blocking the sunlight from reaching the exposed section. Damage is of no concern. Okay, you mean this one here, right? This is the part that rotates? Yep, it went back in. With a quiet nod, Mersault took the object from Sinclair's hand. Is that a film roll? Sure looks like it. There's something written on the outside. Experiment number 4. It appears to be a compact roll for a film camera. I thought recording equipment was banned in N Corp. I've seen it a few times before. You seem pretty used to handle it, Mersault. Correct. Mersault's answer came without any further explanation, but the way he adjusted the camera on the table certainly didn't look like that of a first-timer. I once received a report containing photographs on film cameras during the war. Film rolls used by N Corp are particularly difficult to falsify. They're often used to collect intelligence during secret operations. The film fixes light directly on the medium, from what I've heard. A peculiar expression flashed across Ezra's face as she regarded Utis. Perhaps it was the mention of war that caught her attention. Anyway, we've managed to regroup in one piece. Let's come up with a plan to deal with these distortions, guys. Where should we begin? Then, in the next breath, she returned to her usual bubbly self and steered the conversation away from the subject. Both Ezra and I we are still both trying to be free of the misconception we inflicted on ourselves. For all her unfailingly perky disposition, Ezra too may be carrying traumatic memories every bit as devastating as Gregor's. Does there yet remain aught deserving illumination? Huh? Yeah, oh wait, you're right. Haven't we cleaned up the distortion already? I couldn't feel any more traces of distortions nearby, and it didn't seem like any of the other Sinner teams elsewhere were actively engaged in battle at the moment either. Dante is asking whether the distortion suppression has not, in fact, already been concluded. Not yet. These people we fought just now, they only caught up in the distortion. They didn't actually distort themselves. We haven't even gotten close to the distortion's infection point yet. Infection point? Anywho, finding an inflection point without the team leader around is gonna take some time. Maybe it won't be too bad with your help. Oh, my bad. She called it an inflection point. It's too bad that she's tall, otherwise I'd probably smack her on the back of the head. Ezra swept her eyes around the room with a look of frustration, as though she had just been handed a puzzle box with half the pieces missing. By inflection point, are you referring to the point on the graph where the directionality of its curvature changes? Calling to mind the present context, it may less be a mathematical term and more a specialized policy referring to the point at which distortion occurs. The motive, intent, or indeed, the point in which inflection of the mind occurs. Yeah, that's about right. That's the kind of inflection point I was talking about. So in our department we use that term to mean the source of a distortion, the inflector or cause behind it, stuff like that. Oh, it wasn't that was actually intended. You know, distortion's hard to treat if you don't know the core cause. Treat the symptom you see on the surface all you like, but if you never find the root cause, distortion's never getting solved. So I guess you guys never really had to look for that kind of stuff, huh? Your boss clock opens a door into their fathoms or whatever, right? You mean Dungeon of the Fathoms? Yeah, that's the one! From where we're standing, distortions are really high maintenance, time consuming headaches. It's one thing to somehow manage to locate the inflection point, but curing it's another thing. But you guys can just march straight into someone's heart, knock the snot out of everything in there, and then ta-da! Patient ready for discharge. That's how it works, right? Ugh. Not gonna lie, I was so jealous when I heard about it, I almost bit my sleeve off. Is that what this tears? And here I thought you fellas handled it the same way we did. You know, giving them a good beating and starting from there. Course not. Why would anyone come to us with a distortion suppression request if it were that simple in the first place? But yeah, most of the time, peeps try to brute force approach it to it first, and when things go south they send requests to the company or to our detective's office. That means the client this time must have been... Bingo! Apparently, the residents of Butter Street have all chipped in to commission all kinds of agencies like Zwei and combat specialized fixer officers, but none of them could actually do things right and the job got passed on to us. Meaning, the distortion phenomenon related to this kind of photograph is still occurring unchecked somewhere on the streets. Exactly. That's why we gotta find something. Anything that might count as a clue. Ezra gazed down at the people lying on the floor with a complicated expression. Neat ash grey suits and the logo on the collar of their uniform and briefcases. Hey, isn't that Encore's logo? Come to think of it, wasn't Mersault? I was once employed by Encore. What? You used to work with those people? Yeah, he did mention that he used to work at Encore. Maybe he can offer us some insight. Do you know who these guys are, Mersault? Yes, manager. These are N-Corp Class 2 staff members. Given the camera briefcases in their possession, they are likely members of Pinframe Team of Service de Clos. Mersault recited the information as though he were pulling it from a file he had already sorted and placed in the back shelf in his mind. I'm sorry, it's late at night and I am a bit tired. Okay, Pinframe Team, huh? Anything you can tell us about them? Yes. It's one of N-Corp's many field departments related to information gathering and processing. Their primary duties include handling of N-Corp's internal information, analysis N-Corp's internal intelligence, sorting and arranging N-Corp's internal information, and intersector. That'd be enough. Oh, is he the talking encyclopedia or something? Yeah, another thing to be jealous of. You think it'll be okay if we borrow him sometimes? Might be an issue for us if you just went and borrowed our team's encyclopedia. Looks like everyone agrees that he's an encyclopedia. Anyway, your encyclopedia is right. They're from N-Corp's Pinframe Team. Seen them a few times before in N-Corp's nest. But why would people already busy enough dealing with nest affairs come all the way out to a shabby backstreet like this? Got any guesses? I am unable to determine that. The possible range of connection between the two pieces of information is exceedingly broad. Listing every relevant reason as to why they may have come here would require a considerable amount of time. Therefore, I will not present a determinative answer to that question. Ezra, staring holes into me with an unspoken, "Is this dude always like this?" wouldn't pull any answers from me, you know. Because aside from combat situations, I've still got no way to figure out what's going on in his head. Okay then, Mersault. Maybe this'll be easier to answer from an objective point of view. And that was when I noticed something I'd never imagined would happen. Mersault's eyes widened, his gaze fixing me with such force I could almost feel a faint tremor in it. A leveling stare that came with, "There is no such thing as an objective point of view, manager." A clipped tone and a look almost bordering on rebuke. A given judgment may seem infinitely close to objectivity, but ultimately all things are subjective without exception. I fell silent for a moment, lost in thought. Part of it was because Mersault's reaction had caught me off guard. But I also wondered whether this response might be connected to why he was always refused to make judgments for himself. And if this has something to do with his turn, which I know is just around the corner. Got it. Then tell me 3 subjective reasons you think are most likely for why these people had to come all the way into the back streets. I need to understand who he actually is as much as I can. Because I'll never know when I'll get another chance to really get to know him if I brush this off with a simple, "Oh, I see, my bad," as usual. Yes, manager. I would presume that their mission was one or all of the following: retrieval of a video recording or recordings in violation of N-Corp's taboo, prompt elimination of the violator, contact with an informant in the backstreets collaborating with N-Corp's nest, or identification and arrest of a wanted individual or individuals designated by the nest. Taboo? You mean these people could be taboo hunters? No way, they don't send out taboo hunters for every single violation, you know. Like, wings usually leave minor taboo violations to be handled by subcontracted fixer officers or employees of the department in charge. I'd say these guys here are N-Corp staff. Hang on. There is one abnormality in lobotomy core that I haven't considered in quite a long time because it's honestly one of the ones I try to avoid. Schadenfreude. The keyhole that stares at you relentlessly. Purveyor of suffering. Ah. Maybe it's not related. Maybe that was actually tied to K Core and it's too late, but still. Miss Angdu, what are you looking for in their pockets? I am looking through their belongings for enlightening clues yet be hidden in the sleeve or the fold of their garments. Lady Moses had been gifted with the art of discerning the truth from what lies before her with a single glance, yet my eyes are foreign to such a feat. You know, it strikes me that the other reason that we got fooled by bamboo-hatted Kim is because they gave us freaking Blade Lineage Mentor Salt. So of course we'd expect him to also have an incredibly deep voice. Let me take a look too. Oh. This is an employee card and... Okay, this one's a wallet, so let's put that back. We don't want to be robbers. Ah, this might be it. It's an order missive. Ezra pulled a sheet of paper out from the Encore staff. Wow, wait. I didn't realize this video was going to be so long. From an Encore staff's coat and read its contents aloud. Work details elimination of the individual of a Category 3 taboo violation. Address Butter Street. This is the place. Which means all of this might be pointing to something. Whoever used to work in this studio and the distortion phenomenon might be connected. Yeah, now that you mention it, when that whole pop and change thing happened, it did kind of feel like a camera flash. Alright, let's start by combing through this place. Let me know if you find anything suspicious. Oh, at last the hour of my arrived for my debut as a detective forsooth! Don Quixote must have been miffed for not getting to play detective back in T-Core. No idea where she'd been keeping them, but she immediately pulled out the detective props that had been given to Rodia, Ryoshu, and Honglu back then. Verily, I had foreseen that the day would come. Fortunately, Utis wasted no time putting an end to Don Quixote's badly timed shenanigan. A sharp dressing down from her was enough to make our detective, chivalrous adventurer staff put the costume away. Adventurer stuffed the costume away. Okay, then we should probably get moving too. Alright then, until next time guys, take care. I'll see you all around. I'm about to go have another break because it is actually dinner time. Till next time guys, take care. I'll see you all around. Oh, finally, combat.